Yes, please.
A very good evening, sir.
Good
Thank you
evening.
for joining us. So, sir, before starting with the interview, can we please have a brief introduction of yours?
Yes, sure. This is Dr. Sunil Pandey. I'm a professor and director at ITS Mohanagar, Ghaziabad. Primarily, I'm from the area of information technology with my specialization in soft computing and database technologies. I have been associated with this institute for last 23 years now. And looking after the academic courses, academic program, the IT infrastructure and facilities installed at ITS Mohanagar, Ghaziabad, which is affiliated to CCS University, Meerut. This is in brief what.
So, sir, as you told us that since past 20 to 21 years, you are associated with the institution. So, my first question to you is, what are the changes that you see in yourself or in your personality before and after joining the institution?
That's a very interesting question because it takes me about 22 years back when in 1997, I completed my post-graduation. I started my career in industry, in IT industry on mainframe platforms. And then subsequently, when I joined academics in 1998, precisely, I was young and very new to academia. I didn't have any experience to how to even conduct classes. As a student sitting on front seat, it's something different than standing on podium and interacting with 60 odd students, and that was in PG programs. So that was the first experience which I still remember, that when I went to the class and I saw the 60 odd students sitting in the class, I was supposed to teach digital electronics and computer organization. Basically, it takes its roots from physics. And in my class, there were two university toppers from MSc Physics. They were also the students. So yeah, of course, that the kind of fear, the kind of nervousness. When I went to the first class, and then subsequently with support of everyone, including students, my colleagues, my seniors, gradually I started accepting the environment, adjusting myself. And now in 22 years, when I look back, it's a long journey. I started my career as a lecturer in information technology. Then I became senior lecturer, assistant professor, and subsequently this institution has shown its trust and confidence in me, and entrusted me with the responsibility of leading this academic institute. This is a wonderful institute, leading institute, one of the leading institutes in the country, and especially in the part of North India, where we are offering programs in IT, management, dentistry, engineering, biotechnology, pharmacy, physiotherapy. So all those things are there. But that core, the fundamentals remain same. We were focused, we were committed, we were working with strong conviction that we will do something which will be different from others, and we have been able to do that. So in the process, as an individual, I grew. With experience had taught many lessons, and every lesson has made me much more mature, much more sincere, and a broader perspective of the contents. So as an individual, I grew. As a teacher, from the first class which I mentioned just today, if I go to any place, I still remember that first class. Today I feel more competent, more comfortable in learning technology, because as a teacher, we always have to be keen learner. A person can't be a teacher if he loses the interest in learning something. So new technologies I have been learning. I've been interacting with the students, learning every day. We share, discuss in the classroom, and that flair of teaching in the classroom, discussing in the classroom, and transition from teacher-centric approach to the learner-centric approach. That has made lots of transformation. As a teacher, I grew, and then I started visiting industry. I started sharing my perspective in industry with close connect And today, when I look back, I find myself more confident. I find myself very strong connect in industry, and this connectivity is helping me in transforming these students in terms of their personality, in terms of their employability skills, in terms of their technical understanding. So it has been a wonderful journey. So in the 24 years, 23 years is quite a long journey, and it has really a wonderful with full of experiences, full of learning, and expanding the horizon of knowledge, the social connect, and of course, as a professional, um, it has established up to some extent.
So turning around the question, as you said that you have been with the institution for more than 20 years, starting with the job of a junior professor, professor, senior professor, then director. What changes do you see in the institution from the day when you stepped into the institution till now?
Uh, Institution means an institute can be seen from different angles. If you see infrastructure, when I joined this institute, hardly there were 135 students. An entire ITS group was just one institute, ITS Mohannagar Ghaziabad, where I am, with 135 students, around 12 faculty members. So altogether, we were around 25 faculty staff all combining. Today, if we look back, we are 8 institutes. We have got 4 campuses, 2 hospitals added to it, one CBSC affiliated school with us. Number of students from 135, we have now crossed 10,000 plus students. From 25 faculty, now we are around 800 plus faculty in ITS group. The 3.5 acre campus in 1998 when I joined. Now today we have 65 plus acres of constructed area. And with a smaller, focused, very confined exposure, now we have been exposed to actual real industrial development. So that is one thing. With the institute, when an organization grows, everyone associated with it grows. So in 25 years, 24 years at least, in my association, from lecturer, I reached to director here at the same institute. People, those who are young now turning older, new generation is coming. New generation is getting things created, but then to take it forward in this challenging environment, when things are changing very fast, when thought process is changing very fast, when expectation of student is changing very fast, and changing very fast because the industry is changing very fast. So coping up with these challenges it's something which is now the biggest challenge. So there is a strong need of creating balance between expectations and what is actually available, and then keeping close watch on happenings in and around to keep everyone associated with the student, whether faculty, with the institute, whether faculty, student, management, whomsoever is relevant in this current time. So institute has changed a lot in terms of physical infrastructure. Today, we have got one of the best infrastructure. When it comes to information technology, probably we are leading the entire transformation. During even COVID-19, we were the first institute in the entire state of UP who migrated from conventional platform to the digital platform. And that too, training all our faculty to train all our students and make them comfortable just within 24 hours. So the kind of competency we have developed in last 25 years, it is unparalleled. Your voice, you're muted probably.
Oh, sorry, sir. Am I
Yeah.
audible?
Yes.
This journey, sir, probably has been a long one, and it might be full of lots and lots of ups and downs, happiness and sorrows. Sir, what has been that one turning point in your life where you felt that no, right from this position onward, the change is yet to begin? Means, if you are asked any one turning point of your life, what will it be?
In a human's life, whether it is personal or professional, uh, you come across every day with different kind of challenges. You come across different kind of requirements. And with every change required, because of any, that could be due to internal factors, that could be due to personal factor, that could be due to professional factor, that could be due to any external factor. So every moment when something is required to be done, which was not earlier, becomes a milestone, becomes a change agent. So pointing out that this particular thing was one of the turning point would be really difficult, because when I was lecturer, uh, I used to go to the classroom, I used to take classes and like other faculty members. Then suddenly on a day, I got a call from my secretary of ITS group uh, that there's a press release has to be sent. Now, who will write that press release in Hindi? Nobody was that fluent in Hindi to write a press release, because writing something on of about 2 pages in Hindi about the institute's futuristic vision, uh, there were not much people, those who could shown interest. So I got a call. I went to the office. I was asked that, Sunil, see, this has to go to a newspaper, and we have only today and tomorrow. By tomorrow afternoon, this has to be sent to press. So I tried to understand what actually has to be written. So I got a fair idea that this is something. I sat, I wrote in Hindi, because I came to Varanasi. So somebody told that the Pandey is from Varanasi, so he must be knowing Hindi good. That was presumption. So when I prepared that press release, that was means I tried to put everything, because that was the first task apart from academics. So when I wrote that press release and it was presented, it was well appreciated and sent to press without even a single correction. Now, as a young teacher, when I got this information that, Pandeyji, you have written this, it was so appreciated, it was sent to the press without even a minor correction. This has happened for the first time. Now, this was a motivation. So I started from that particular task, and subsequently, now writing a press release may not seem very a big task, but then the way you put your everything, whether it is your conviction, your commitment, to make it one of the best notes, that those attributes, those hidden attributes, which spread the message to the other person who is sitting on other side, it started from there. And then today, the entire institute has, which once considered me for writing a press release, now this entire institute's responsibility has been entrusted on me. So in the process, every small thing which contributes to bring your skills, your attitude, your personal traits out, so that people can assess on those parameters, is a turning point. So I will not point out any single moment, but yes, one thing I must mention, that in entire journey, my daughters have been the strongest support from the back, which always kept my morale high.
Okay, sir. Moving to the next question. As you said that every day we face new challenges, every day we have to overcome, and means there cannot be a particular incident that can be considered as a turning point. But as we see in today's generation, the children, especially teenagers, they get highly attracted by some or the other thing. Suppose if they see someone of defense, they get attracted by the uniform. If they see someone of other field, they get attracted by that. And if they're not able to achieve anything at such a tender age, they face dilemma. They are going to face lots and lots of distraction, and they become highly demotivated. So what is your saying that for the students to stay motivated even if the things are not working according to your wish?
See, this is natural. This is natural. And when we say that today's young generation, why it is happening? Because today's generation is well informed. They are well informed. In our generation, when a student used to pass 12th class, by default, there were two options: either go for engineering or go for medical. That's all. And even as a student, as a teen, we didn't have any idea that what could be the third option. When a student used to pass graduation, BA, BSc, BCom, the first thing we used to attract was civil services. Whether that student had used to have that potential, irrespective of that, at least one chance. Every student wanted to be the civil servant. So that was the story relevant during that particular time, because we were not informed that much. I still remember when I came to know about MCA course, the first thing which I was told that MCA is Master of Chartered Accountant. Now today, if I say anyone that MCA was Master of Chartered Accountant, which I came to know first, but everyone will laugh that how it can happen, Master of Computer Application, and you are saying MCA, because we used to have CA means Chartered Accountant, and if M is preceded, is put on at the first place, now it becomes Chartered Accountant, Master of Chartered Accountant. Because we were not informed, number one. There were not much channels through which we could get that awareness. Now today, when a child grows, when he becomes a teen, he's well informed, he's well connected. Even in his school, when a student goes and when he start thinking, like for 6th class student, if you ask him, he's aware of what areas exist. A student of 6th class, he starts talking about that I want to go for engineering, I want to go for medical science, I want to go for acting, I want to go for fine arts, I want to go for this. It is not because of this time. It is because they have sufficient information, ample information, and because of that, well informed about the career options, they start thinking differently in different ways. So there is nothing wrong in it. And this is also natural, that when, like you mentioned, that when a student sees a person in army uniform or defense sec, he gets attracted. It happens with everyone. Even in our time, when we used to see an IPS officer who used to come near to our college, even we used to get fascinated that yes, that IPS uniform should I wear. So there is nothing wrong in it. It is natural, and we should give that much freedom to teens to explore all these things, because once they explore, they are so informed that when they start exploring, they also start connecting it with their vision, with their career goal, what they want. And after some point of time, they start analyzing that what I'm thinking, if I'm getting attracted towards this test, whether this test is going to help me in achieving my goal. And they immediately start leaving it. So that distraction, that thought process will always be there. It should be there. It should be, because this exploration is something which makes a person, whether a student or adult, it makes them much more richer in terms of understanding, in terms of knowledge, in terms of gaining confidence. Because suppose if a student, if a teen sees an Air Force officer and he starts feeling that yes, that dress is very good and I should be an Air Force officer, he starts exploring also. When he starts exploring, after some time, when he tries to find out that how to become as an Air Force officer, then there are certain things, certain requirements. He starts assessing himself or herself. Then in the process, if he feels that my English is not good, whereas for Air Force, English is mandatory. So either he will stop thinking about that, or he will start improving on his communication skills. So on both way, it is good. So there is nothing wrong. It should be there. It was there 50 years back. It is today. 50 years back, 25 years back, there were limited scope, not in terms of the available options, but information was not available. The internet. Now today, if you when I go to the class, if I start talking about blockchain technology, I don't need to give definition of blockchain technology. That student always know. He starts talking, sir, cryptocurrency is there, and it is said that cryptocurrency is based on blockchain technology. Now tell me how this blockchain technology is used in cryptocurrency. Now, is that teen is wrong asking this? No. In my time, if a technology evolved, I was not aware, because the only way to know about technology was to visit libraries, and that two libraries of institutions of national importance like central universities, like IITs, IIM, and they were out of accessible range. If sitting in Varanasi, if I had to read some research in technology, either I had to purchase that journal, which was very costly, or to come down to Delhi or Kanpur, IIT. So because of that limited information, people's orientation was very limited. Now today, teens are well informed, and this is bound to happen, and it should happen.
Very true, sir. And it was really very nice and inspiring for me also, being a teenager. Moving to the next question. Sir, we as a teenager face lots of problem in our growing stages. Like some of the teenagers, they are distracted by some personal issues. Some are distracted because of so-called mobile phones, which are the biggest cause of distraction now. Whereas there are certain kind of students who are also facing the distraction because of the opposite genders. So these are the things on which the teenagers, they actually want to talk, but thinking that their what might be the reaction of their elders, their teachers or parents, they some or the other place, they just hide this thing from them and are unable to speak upon this. So what will be your message, or what will be your advice to the teenagers who are suffering through this problem, and how would you motivate them to be focused in their studies and to be well career oriented?
This is natural. This is natural, and a natural phenomenon. This is why it happens. This is basically a tussle between the thought process of generations. My generation thinks on the kind of exposure, experience, value system, ethos, what we have been, what we used to have while we were growing. Today's generation, they think on the information, the environment, the culture, the value system which prevails today. So if somebody takes that inputs, that grooming, a nurturing environment of 25, 30, 40 years back, and tries to apply in today's context, there has to be a kind of gap. And that gap creates disconnect. When we were studying, or even 40 or 50 years back, how many co-educational institutions were there? If there was there used to be a school for male student, and then there used to be schools for girl student. And mostly these students, these teens, used to grow in their own environment. So during their process of study from 1st till 12th, they used to study either in girls' college or in boys' college. Now that mindset gets developed over the period, because here that brain training, it's something which plays very important role. So while growing in this environment, people never used to accept the fact, and from that generation, still that problem is there, that how can a male student can talk to a girl student? हमारे यहाँ तो नहीं होता था ऐसा. भाई आपके यहाँ इसलिए नहीं होता था क्योंकि आपके पास अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं थी. When you were growing, you were going through a process which was entirely different. So that's why, even if you take the example of marriages that used to be there 15, 20 years back, normally people say that I got married, which was arranged by my parents. I didn't see my would-be wife, because that was the kind of culture, environment, value system, and the grooming. Now today, with the increased closer proximity, now most of the institutions, schools, are co-ed schools. Now, when co-ed schools are open, when a child goes to co-ed school, they have equal level of mindset, thought process. When they sit together, they discuss lots of things. They start discussing if they find something they're not able to understand any subject. They normally they discuss with the adjacent student. Now next to him is sitting maybe a child, maybe a girl, maybe a boy. So in fact, in their thought process, there is nothing wrong. And over the period, even if a male boy is there, if next to him a male boy is sitting, if he speaks to him, if he gets his problem solved with the help of him, they become friends. Likewise, if a girl student is sitting next to him, and if his problems are solved by her, we don't accept that they can be good friend. And that's why such people always say a boy, a girl cannot be good friend. Because in their thought process, they try to assess and evaluate based on their own understanding, which is not relevant in current context. What happens when, as a parent, we start applying this 40, 35 years, 30 years, 45 years old thought process in current context, then their tussle starts. Because those two teens, they do not have anything negative. But because we start looking at them as they can't be good friends, something fishy is there. And gradually what happens, you start directly or indirectly expressing your displeasure, your anger. And that anger, displeasure, that because when a teen is a very different kind of a stage in one's life, the tendency is of reacting. And this is not for current teen, this is for everyone. Even 50-year old person used to have same kind of thought process, which he forgets after when he becomes 50 or 60 years. Gradually, it starts creating distance. Because what happens then? Now that boy or girl will start hiding the things, because they know that if my mother come to know about this, they will start saying something. They will keep doing this, but start hiding. And that's where the trust deficit starts. That's where the confidence on both of them, it gets decays. And that's where that when this kind of situation comes, many a times even relationship of parents with their kids start spoiling. So this is natural. This is not when today, even today, those who are teen, they are having different environment, technology, everything. God knows 20 years after 20 years down the lane, what technology, what kind of environment, what kind of value system will be there. Because the only thing which is constant is change, and we do not accept the change. That's the problem.
Yes, very true, sir. Thank you so much for this. Next question is, we as a student or normal children, they some or the other place their mind clicks, I want to do this. At other place their mind clicks, I want to do this. So what will be that advice you would like to give to the upcoming generation to choose their career wisely and not to play with themselves coming under the influence of their friend or any other person? So the one advice you would like to give to the children to choose their career wisely.
This is very important. And that's where, in fact, the role of family becomes very important. When a kid starts thinking on these lines, because he finds it fascinating. He finds it fascinating. And what he does, he starts thinking that this is something which I want to do. But then without controlling or directing, there is a very thin line in monitoring, advising and monitoring, or observing and monitoring rather than controlling and directing. Let kid apply its thought process. And when it is seen that he needs some kind of support, the parent, the family should come forward. The teacher should come forward. And the best thing to a kid, I would suggest that you share your thought process, your opinion, what is going on in your mind with your parents. If you find it difficult to discuss with your parents, you discuss with your brother, your sister, your teacher. I'm sure somebody must be there who will give you a serious thought, sincere thought, will advise you. But the thought process will always start coming, because this is the age when these things will happen. But need not worry, things will be settling down. You just, in the process, you start thinking that what you want to do. And when distraction comes, discuss with your parents, discuss with your teachers, discuss with your friends. Discuss. I'm not saying that ask them, discuss. You will get lots of inputs. Then you give a thought to all those inputs. Don't take decision on that. Decision must be yours only. Don't get influenced by anybody's advice. So, and if you have ample thoughts, ample ways, and then if you give a sincere thought, be calm, be cool, give a thought to what you are thinking, what others are saying. And if you find it convincing, only then you decide. So be confident, be confident, be courageous, identify your goal, put your best of efforts with conviction and a strong will. Success is yours.
Thank you, sir, for these nice words. Another question is, sir, it is related to your field. As you said that you are basically in the field of technology, researches and science. So this is the field which is really appreciated by all the parents. Means all the parents, they wish to see their child as they want to do they want that the child should do engineering, should be good in this field, should earn lots of name and fame in this. Sir, being in this field, what is your perspective? That is this field really at the top of all? Is technology only the field where student can have the brightest career?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, if that would have been the case, people would not have been talking about Lata Mangeshkar ji. People would not have been talking about our martyrs. People would not have been talking about our Bollywood stars or Tollywood stars. People would not have been talking about Sachin Tendulkar, about Virat Kohli. Every field has equal opportunity of earning and getting fame, getting respect, getting honor. The only thing, the field you choose, how much committed you are. That's me. Everyone can't be a scientist. Everyone can't be an actor. Everyone can't be a cricketer like Virat Kohli or Sachin Tendulkar, Sunil Gavaskar, Kapil Dev. Everyone can't be. So the most important thing is to work on identifying your strength. Align your goal with your strength. And then start putting your sincere, committed, and consistent efforts to achieve that. Any field, you have equal opportunity. Gudai Maharaj. Okay, Gudai Maharaj ji was tabla vadak.
Okay.
He is no more than respected. He is respected more than anybody else. They're dancers, the classical performers. So there are all the fields have equal opportunity to earn money, to earn respect, to earn fame. The only thing is the person should be with a strong conviction, should be ready to put his or her best of efforts in a consistent manner. There should not be something today I start with full energy and then tomorrow okay, leave it. Now I can't do that. When you say I can't do that, it means you yourself are not convinced.
Yes, sir. Very true, sir. Moving ahead with the interview. The next question to you is, as you said that all the fields are equally important, be it in cricket or be it a musician or a Bollywood star, whatever. All the fields have equal respect and have equal importance. So what will be your message to the parents who if a child say to them, I want to go to Bollywood industry, I want to go in entertainment industry, and I want to become an actor. The first and the foremost thing, especially if the girl child says this, the first and foremost thing that comes is in a very negative tone, that is this the only thing left to do, or you're going to defame the family. These are the words that the girl child has to hear, that you are going to defame the family. So these are the things which the children are getting to hear. So what will be your message, or what will be your advice to those parents who just simply mock at these professions and does not allow their children to come forward in this?
Such parents who, but again, this is a tussle between thought process. What happens? Normally, people have dual face. When some, there you will find lots of people who in public, when they talk, they will always say, I don't differentiate between boy and girls. I give all freedom to my kids, that you do whatever you want. But when it comes to their own kids, they become the same person as it was in 19th century. So what happens? We have a thought process of 21st century, the value system of 20th century. Rather, I will reframe it. We have a thought process of 19th century. We have value system of 20th century, and we have expectations of 21st century. There is a mismatch. There is a gap in all these three. While doing this, parent not only, I'm not saying they're wrong, because they talk what they have experienced from the background they come, the environment in which they are groomed, and then surroundings, of course. Many a times it happens, they do not have that kind of thought process, but because of the fear of society, that what others will say, they do like this. But when they do this, they forget that when they start mocking the choice of their own kids, they start killing the kid sitting inside that kid. They start preparing their own kid for rebellion. They start rebelling. Because if a kid does not find support, then he starts making his own conviction that, yes, I have to do this. And that situation will not be good for anyone. Because ultimately it is the life of the kid which is important. Today, if a kid wants to do something, if I pressurize my own kids, no, you have to do this, for sure that he or she will not be that determined for my choice, because this is not his or her choice. If he or she is not determined, he or she will not put his best of efforts. Ultimately, it is bound to fail. While he or she fails, he or she loses his confidence, and that decay in confidence and not achieving what he or she wants leads to different situation, which may be depression, which may be other things. And that will not be good for anyone, whether the parents, those who are mocking up, are not supporting their kid, or the kid. So the best way is, the parents should be broad-minded. They should also think that their kids are well informed, they have having information about all those things. So they need to be more sensitive. On the other side, the kids also needs to understand it, which is very difficult, because when a kid of 16, 17, 18 years, he does not have that kind of exposure where he starts thinking on the line on which parents are thinking. So ultimately, this space has to be created by the parents only, so that their